What a great night. If you were at home, you got a chance to see this duel. I hope you're really happy.
Yeah,
your final thoughts, Coach Boo, on the duel in general?
Well, I think it was a great event for the state of Illinois in wrestling. Again, as I said before, I commend Mike and Izzy for scheduling this year. My understanding, this is going to be a yearly thing between these two schools. And really, to be honest with you, I wish more schools would do this. And I know that some of them, there's a lot of talk on the message board about which schools will wrestle which schools and all those kind of things. And really what happens with that, in my opinion, is Illinois wrestling in general is hurt. I wish that we would have more of these types of matchups and, the ability to see. I see a lot of young kids out here, kids that are in various clubs, kids from other high schools are out here. It's a win-win for Illinois, so I commend both coaches for, being able to step up and put their egos aside and just have a great match and let wrestling be the winner tonight.
And, Mac, your thoughts on the duel?
Well, one thing I like about both these teams is, of course, Montini already has a tradition. I mean, you can't argue with their consistency, regardless of the old 1A, 2A argument, regardless with the 3-class argument, you can't argue with consistency. Now, Oak Park, which basically came out of nowhere, but if you look at just the last few years, a state championship in 2009, in 2010, 3 state champs and a 3rd place in the individual tournament. A little bit of an off year last year, but then bang, right back this year. And even though Montini and OPRF are in separate classes, it would be nice to see, with all the young talent on both teams, the kind of rivalry develop like you have in Ohio between St. Ed's and St. Paris Graham. Two teams, even though they never see each other in the Ohio State Series, but have that, every year wrestle for bragging rights.
Oh, I had the opportunity to be out there at a St. Ed's and Blair thing when I was with Mount Carmel. And it was so nice to finally go in the gym and be the other guy. It was like, let's hurry up and beat these Illinois guys so we can get to the big show. And they have their big show, and we have our series of things. But you're right. Both of you guys are right. This is a great event, and we need to have more of these. And you coaches out there, if you've been thinking about doing it, just do it. If you're the number 2 team or the number 3 team, call up the guy in 2A or 3A or 1A, and we'll get Mike Bear to do it. We'll get him. He'll do it, But let's put this together for Illinois.
Are we going to be at the De La Salle sectional?
That's up to the boss right there. Are we at the De La Salle sectional? Is
for
the
the
question.
Finals or?
Oh, you know what? The problem is with that is that's an IHSA event.
Oh, right,
so
right. You're
now,
right.
We can film it. I can put it online. Yeah. But it's still a possibility. We do work closely with the IHSA. This is not some overnight rookie organization we got here, but it has to be approved. There's a lot of things that Mike does behind the scenes that you in Illinois have no clue about, but it just happens. My thoughts on the duel tonight, I just thought the whole event was great. We had good weather, so nobody had a problem getting here. Great crowd. Great officiating. Just no
very good
problem.
Officiating. I thought they did a very good job.
Everything that was questionable got handled.
Right. You got to give those guys a lot of credit. The bottom line is, guys, really, the officials were kind of unnoticed tonight. Yeah. And you know that, Andre, as being an official yourself, that means they did a great job. Because they don't think they're the show. They don't try to step in and do that. They just let the kids wrestle and officiate the match. So, hats off to them. They've done a great job, too.
And I really think that the winner in all of this, beyond the wrestlers, beyond Montini and Oak Park, was those people out there, the fans. You're going to see tonight online. Lots to talk about this, too. And Mike has said that there'll be a rebroadcast. It'll be posted. Good. So if you didn't see it right away, or if you want to see it again, sorry we didn't have a whole lot of controversial matches for you, but that's the way it goes.
No controversy is a good thing.
Right.
And I'm hoping we can get Israel Martinez up here. He's on, so we're going to stay online. Like to really hear what Izzy's got to say. And for that, and Mike's usually pretty grumpy when he loses a little bit. He's not like actually the quote machine. When he's unhappy, and I don't know if he was unhappy tonight. He's a competitor. He's a gamer.
Looking at the match coming in, Mike's a smart guy. He was He was a little shorthanded tonight. You can't create miracles when you're wrestling a quality team, and you're basically forfeiting 2 weights, and that happens. Teams go through those things. That's the other thing that kind of always drives me crazy about teams and the arguing and this and that back and forth. That's actually the good thing about it too, is it really depends on when you see that team, what point in time. A lot of teams early they wrestle, they don't have their football guys back.
Right.
Teams, Mount Carmel for
We
years,
worked that-
Andre,
man,
we never saw guys
Yeah.
till after Christmas.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
those kids were on visits because those kids were some D1 kids, especially
Yeah.
their upper weights. And, Mount Carmel was always known as a different team
In
come,
January.
state
Yeah.
tournament time. Then, I mean, sometimes totally different faces. And
Glenbard North, perfect
Absolutely,
example this year.
absolutely.
Perfect example this year.
Well, it's a long wrestling season, and there's a lot of components to it. Where does a team like Montini go from tonight? Obviously, they're hitting on all cylinders. Where do they go from here to get, now regionals and sectionals? What do they got to do? We're in the middle of late January, my birthday, so I know it's late.
Well, one of the things that I really, harped on when I was the coach, and I know Israel feels the same way, if you wrestle a tough schedule throughout the season like they have, now you look at your kids and you look them in the eye and you tell them there's nobody you're going to wrestle in our state series that's any tougher or any better than all these kids you've seen. Our kids are going to walk into the regionals. Even a kid like Kevon Powell, who's a former state champion, ranked second in the state, whatever the case is, he's going to have 6-7 losses. And that's the way things are. And you'll see all these other kids from other schools. They're undefeated, one loss, and, it doesn't stand up to the competition. So Mike is going to do the same thing. He's going to look at some of the kids the way his kids wrestled tonight, and he's going to say, guys, this was kind of a dress rehearsal before we get in the state series. Now we're ready to go. And those teams that do that every year are the teams that are successful. Happens, every year.
And this dual meet is an excellent test to prepare Oak Park because, as we all know, 3A is pretty wide open this year. You've got probably five or six teams that all, on a good night, can beat each other. Can beat anybody. And
that's what's going to tell the tale in 3A because
exactly.
you can't point to one team that
and
you think has the advantage.
That's dominant, right.
So first of all, the number one thing in the state dual series is upset Tuesday night. Okay, how do you get your kids out of that individual state series? How do you get them ready for Tuesday night? You got a kid on the platform that's lifelong dream was to be a state champion. He didn't reach that dream. How do you get that kid up in 48 hours and get him ready to wrestle on Tuesday night? How do you get the kid that's sky high? He won a state title or he placed and got his medal, and now he's got to turn around and get back to ground zero on Tuesday night. So you got to get, what team in 3A is going to get their kids to be able to wrestle from Tuesday all the way through the duels on Saturday, the 3 duels. That's the team that's going to win it.
Yeah.
Now, Coach, and I see Izzy's in our sights here, so he should be coming real soon. But there's been a change. There's been a change in the state format for the 2A programs. You're now going to have a bigger bracket. You're not going to have a longer tournament because we're all going to be down there for 3 days. God, Champagne's going to make a lot of money on us.
That's for sure.
But, yeah, with those high-price rooms. But anyway, Coach, how does that affect a kid who was in that smaller bracket last year? Like Kevon Powell, he's had 3 small brackets. Now he's got the big one. Where does he go from here?
Well, and again, it goes back to your experience during the season. Kevon Powell has been in a hotel room, 5 or 6 times this year already.
Right.
Okay, Kevon Powell doesn't have, that's the idea. That's one of the things I used to hear coaches telling me those things all the time. The Dvorak tournament is in Rockford, and you don't have to stay overnight, and or even back when it was a Dundee Crown, over there. And heck, we'd rather stay overnight because I want our kids to have those experiences. I want them to learn what it's like when they're not sleeping in their own bed, because the show at the end of the year is all about that. You can't sleep in your own bed and wrestle in Champaign and be there for weigh-in at 6 a.m. It doesn't work that way.
People weren't getting hotel rooms like we did at Mount Carmel and stayed at the Dvorak?
Well, I think
I
think some people do that, and so I've heard that as a coach. I've heard other people tell me that you always have kids sleep in their own bed, and you try to do these kind of things, and I think the coaches that prepare their kids throughout the season, having overnight trips, wrestling this kind of competition, 2-day tournaments, 3-day tournaments, those kids will be prepared for the state series. You see it every year.
Keeping kids on weight.
Absolutely.
So now you've got to weigh in. Is it 3 times now or 3 times?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And you get a pound every day?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, okay, for instance, I'm just trying to understand this. A 120-pounder, he's already got, 1 pound already this year, January, or he picked up
2 pound
2 pounds. So he's really resting 122. You get down there, now it's
20. Scratch on the first day on Thursday, 1 pound Friday, 1 pound Saturday. So that's where it ends up that way. And again, you know.
Well, now when you say scratch, you mean the 122?
I mean with the 2 pound allowance.
Okay,
Yes,
right,
that's
right,
right.
okay.
That's my fault. Yeah.
Scratch. I thought I was some guys
no,
going to start running.
No. That's not the NCAAs. You know.
You know what? I tell you what. It's funny you mentioned that, but in NCAA, they don't give you anything.
Right.
Every day is scratch weight.
Right.
And the kids just accept it. They just it is what it is.
Well, and the National Federation, I'm going to get up here in a second, but the National Federation, the mindset is that high school kids are still growing. So, but I'm going to give my headphones over here to Israel, the
passing
winning
the torch
coach.
To this guy again.
That's right. I'll pass it to him again here, even
Coach,
literally.
before you leave,
so.
thank you. You made this a great broadcast as always. Great job, and hopefully you can come and sit in with us a little bit down in Champaign. We had 3 days to talk about the Broncos.
Well, I want to congratulate Israel on a great victory today, and he's working very hard, and he's sure making Montini proud. So congratulations on a great win today, Coach Martinez.